Alright guys, so really cool today. We're going to have a full in-depth string tutorial for the Maverik Kinetic. All three of these patterns use 9 top strings, by the way, on the second hole. This mesh pattern uses ECD Hero 2.0. If you want to use stringing 3S, this will probably work. You might have to tweak it a little bit, but if you want a specific 3S pattern, I will have links to those in the description. Also, this is for the Kinetic, of course. And also uses Hero 2.0. So if you're interested in picking up either of these for purchasing, I will have links in the description below to Amazon where you can pick those up. Those links will support Mako Sports, which is great if you use them, by the way. But we're going to do the mid pocket first, and we're going to do a mid-low pocket, and then a mid-high pocket last. If you want to see the mid-low pocket, I'll have a timestamp here. And if you want to see the mid-high pocket tutorial, I'll have a timestamp here. So right after that, that's it, and then we're going to get right into this mid pocket tutorial right now. Alright, so now for the mid pocket, we're going to start off with a 9 top string. As you can see, I have here, you're going to get 9 top string on the second hole of the head. So once again, 9 top string on the second hole of the head. Alright, so now for the actual pattern on the mid pocket with the Kinetic, we're going to start on the third hole of the head. So I'm going to put my string to that third hole all the way through, up and through that next available mesh loop, or the first one that is at least. Going back through that same saddle hole once again and up into that mesh loop. So we're doing a loop start on the third hole of the head, just like I got there. Next up, we're going to skip the next saddle hole and do an SI. So we're going to do, actually we're going to do a KSI, so we're going to go down to the top of the next mesh hole into the plastic from the outside, pulling our string through. So we're going to have a small loop left over. Take your string, going from the back of that loop, and you should have a pretzel, as you can see. Take my slack from the inside, take your fingertips and pinch the solid string to the plastic, and then pull your leading in straight down so it's nice and tight. Take your leading in once again, and then go from the bottom up that same mesh loop. There we got our first KSI. Next up, we're going to skip the next saddle hole and do a KSI down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic, skipping one saddle hole. We leave a small loop. Take your string, go from the back of that loop, take your slack from the inside and pull it. Make sure this knot rests on top of the plastic. Take your fingertips and pinch the solid string to the plastic, and then pull your leading in straight down. Nice and tight, going from the bottom and up of that next mesh loop, or that same one that is. Just like there. Read that one more time without skipping any saddle holes, down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic from the outside. Take your leading in, go up in the back of that loop and through. Pulling our slack from the inside, pinching the solid string to the plastic, and then pulling straight down. Take your leading in again, and going from the bottom up, that same mesh loop. There we go. We're going to further create the pocket. What we need to do is a single, so go from the bobbin up of the next mesh loop, like that. Take your string, pinch it, and then pull it up towards the top of the scoop, and then pull your leading in straight down so this mesh loop anchors to the plastic, going from the outside in without skipping any saddle holes. And we're still pulling the mesh up towards the scoop to create the pocket, pulling your string all the way through, nice and tight, and then there we have just a single. After that single, we're going to do a KSI down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic, from the outside, lead in, going from the back of that loop, pulling our slack from the inside, pinching and pulling straight down, and then bottoming up, nice and tight. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking my fingers from the inside and then pushing the middle of the pocket upwards towards the scoop, really tight, and then I'm pulling away from each other with each hand. So my string or my leaning in is pulling downwards, and then I'm pulling my mesh upwards at the same time. So it's creating a nice tension point. So after that KSI, we're going to do 4 more after that, I believe. So down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic, from the outside in, another KSI, do another one. Alright, we're going to do 1 more KSI after that one actually. So down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic from the outside, leaving a loop from the back of that loop and through, pulling your slack from the inside, and then from the bottom up. Next up, we're going to start to finish out. We're doing an interlock, but we're going to skip 1 more silo hole. We're going to go straight into the plastic, leaving a loop. And we have this next available mesh hole. From the inside, I have my string here. We're going to go up and through that loop, just like that. You're going to take your leading in and go up and through the loop that you left, just like that. And then you want to take the middle of the mesh, pinch it, pull it towards the top of the scoop, pull your string outwards, up, and then down so it's nice and tight. And then take your string, go from back and through that same mesh loop. You see it's just crossing back over into the inside and out. And then from the bottom, or from the inside, you're going to go taking your leading in string and going out and through that bottom silo hole from the inside. And then all you need to do is tie off from there. Alright, so now we're going to finish out the bottom string for the Maverik Kinetik mid pocket. So we finished out right here, as you can see, on the 10 diamond row, of course. So all we're going to do for the bottom string is, and of course you can do it differently if you want to, but for here, we're going to take the loops that we stopped on and then just go 1 over like that, and we're going to put my string through those loops. And I'm using a bottom string, or a shooting string that is, and I'm just going to have it loop and lay flat through like that, and I have my eyelets on the inside, as you can see. And then from here, with the corresponding sides, we're going to go out and through the outer bottom string holes. Okay, so it's sitting like that. Just went through the bottom string holes on the outside, not the inner 2. And then we're pulling this downwards to get it tight. And then from this side, it'll be a little easier to see. So it's a little easier to see for you guys. We're pounding our pocket in a little bit to where we want it to sit, of course, mid in the middle of the head. And then I have my bottom string here. And then I'm just pulling my string downwards, but at the same time as I'm pounding the pocket. So you can see, so it's nice and tight. And then we have a nice arch from the front as well as the back. And then all you need to do here is just simply tie off the ends. There you go. Alright, so after that you should have a really nice looking mid pocket. It's going to be a do-it-all pocket for any position on the field really, because you can use the Kinetic at almost any position, that is, because it's a great head. But we have a nice mid pocket here, so it's nice in the middle of the head. It's going to be great for any position really. It's going to be able to do anything with ease, that is. So overall I think I recommend this one the most, that is over the mid-low and the mid-high. It's my favorite. Pretty good amount of channel, as you can see, so it's going to be nice and accurate. You'll get some decent power as well for your shots and your passes. So that is it for the mid pocket, and stay tuned for the mid-low pocket. Alright, so this is what the mid-low pocket in the Kinetic is going to look like before we start the tutorial. So as you can see, it sits nice and low in the head and the narrowest part of the face shape, which is great for any attackman or midfielder that likes to carry the ball mostly, or is a feeder or a dodger. So it sits nice and low in the head, so it'll be great for one-hand cradling. Really narrow channel, so it's going to be really, really accurate. So it's going to be great for any midfielder or attackman that's on the offensive side of the field. Alright, so now we're going to start on the mid-low pocket for the Kinetic. So you're going to need a 9-diamond top string, as you can see I have here, just like on the mid pocket. You're going to need that 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head. So once again, 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head. Alright, so now we're going to start to rip the sidewall pattern on the mid-low pocket for the Kinetic. So we're going to start on the third hole, so I'm going to put my string through that third hole all the way through, and then up into this first available mesh loop, as you can see, and then back into that same sidewall hole once again, and up into that same mesh loop again. And then that's going to be our starting knot. After that starting knot, we're going to do an SI, so we're going to skip the next sidewall hole and go down to the top of the next mesh hole, just like that, into the sidewall hole from the outside, making sure to skip one. Pull it up so we have this little loop left, taking our string and going through this loop. As you can see, it just crosses over, up, down, so it's nice and tight. Take your leading in string and going from the bottom and up for that same mesh loop. And there's our first SI. Alright, so now we're going to skip the next sidewall hole and do another SI, so down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic from the outside, making sure to skip one sidewall hole, through this loop that we leave, just like the last time, up, down, and then take your leading in string, going from the bottom and up, that same mesh loop, so it's nice and tight. Make sure to pull all the slack through. There you go. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to skip the next sidewall hole and do another SI, so down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic, skipping one sidewall hole, through the loop, up and down, and then up and through the mesh loop. Here we go. Alright, so after that last SI, we're going to do, I believe, 6 more, going straight after. So down to the top of the next mesh hole, we're going to start to create the pocket, down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic from the outside, and through the loop. Now here, what you want to do is pinch the middle of the mesh and pull it towards the top of the scoop, taking your leading in string, going from the bottom and up to that same mesh loop. Do it again, down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic, through the loop, and from the bottom and up again. We're going to do it one more time. So while we're doing this, we're still holding the middle of the mesh and pulling up towards the scoop to create the pocket, down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic, to the loop, and then up in from the bottom and up. These should all be really nice and tight, as you can see. Do it one more time. Starting to get towards the end, into the plastic, to the loop, and then from the bottom and up. There we go. Okay, so we're at our bottom 3 soluble holes, so we're going to go and do one more SI. So down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic, through the loop. Take the middle of the mesh, pinch it, pull it towards the top of the scoop once again. Put your slack through, up and down, so it's nice and tight, from the bottom and up. And that's our last SI. Last, what we're going to do is finish out, so we're going to do an interlock, so into the plastic from the outside, we're going to leave a small loop. As you can see, I have this next available mesh loop, and then from the inside, I'm taking my string and going up into this loop, and up and through there, as you can see. Take the middle of the mesh, pinch it, pull it towards the top of the scoop again, pull your string outwards, up, and then down so it's tight, and then take your leading in once again, going down to the top of that same mesh loop, and then from the bottom and out of the last soluble hole from the inside, and then just tie it off. And then this is what it should look like from the other side. There you go. Alright, so now we're going to do our bottom string for the mid-low pocket. So here on my mesh, we're going to do it the same rows that we finished on, these guys right here, all the way across the end. So on that same row, which is the 10 diamond row, one mesh loop over to the inside. These are where we're going to do our bottom strings on. So I'm going to take my string and go through the one on the left and also the one on the right. And it's just going to lay flat on the back side. So as you can see, it's a little bit easier to see like this. So this is the row we ended on, went back down through, and then one mesh loop over to the inside, and we put our string all the way through just like so. I have my eyelets on the inside. As you can see, they're on the inside. And then from the bottom, or from the inside, we're going to go down through the outside bottom string holes. Okay, so there, it's just going right through the outside bottom string holes. Okay. Okay, so to finish out, you're just kind of adjusting your tension for the bottom string. What you want to do is take like 3 or 4 fingers, depending on how big your hand is, and then pushing the pocket out a little bit to get depth, and then pulling the bottom string down at the same time. As you can see, it's adjusting to create a curve in the pocket. And then all you need to do is tie off your bottom string. And there are other ways you can do the bottom string. It doesn't matter as much with a mid-low pocket as it does with a mid pocket or a mid-high pocket. So you can really do whatever bottom string you want to do. But this is what I'm doing for the sake of the tutorial. So there I have that. Just like that. Alright, so after that, you should have a really nice looking mid-low pocket, just like so. And like I said before, it's going to be great for any midfielder or attackman that's looking to carry the ball, dodge or feed, that sort of thing. Also, it's going to be great for one-hand cradling, because the ball is going to sit nice and low in the head when you're cradling one-handed. So that's it for the mid-low pocket. So stay tuned for the mid-high now. Alright, so here we're going to do the mid-high pocket. So as you can see, it sits up nice and high. and the upper third of the head. It's going to be great for any midfielder, attackman, or an LSM. Ground balls are a big part of your game. This is going to be awesome, as well as if you plan to shoot a lot from the outside. It's got a decent amount of channel. Of course, for a mid-high pocket, you're not going to have that much channel though. So it's going to be a lot of nice shot power. It's going to be great for ground balls. So stay tuned for the tutorial. Alright, so now we're going to start on the mid-high pocket, but before we begin, you're going to need a 9-diamond top string, just like on the last two pockets. You're going to get 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head once again. So 9-diamond top string on the second hole of the head. Okay, so now to begin the actual style of pattern for the mid-high pocket on the Kinetic, we're going to start on the third hole. So I'm going to put my string through that third hole and up into that first available mesh loop. Back to that same saddle hole and up into that same mesh loop once again for our starting knot. There we go. Alright, so after that first loop, we're going to skip the next saddle hole and do a KSI, so down to the top of the next mesh loop. Just like so, into the saddle hole. Make sure to skip one. We're going to leave a small loop there. Take your lining in, going from the back of that loop and through. You should have a pretzel, as you can see, to signify that you're creating a knot. From the inside, we're going to pull this slack all the way through. Take your fingertips and pinch the saddle string to the plastic, and then pull your lining in straight down. And then take your lining once again, going from the bottom and up at that same mesh loop. And then that will be your KSI. Start off the channel. Alright, so after that first KSI, we're going to do a knotted stack to side. So we're going to skip one saddle hole, go down to the top of the next mesh loop, down to the top of the one following after. There you go. Going into the plastic from the outside. Leave a small loop, take your string and go from the back of that loop and through. Pull your slack from the inside. Take your fingertips, pinch the saddle string to the plastic, and then pull straight down so it's nice and tight. Take your string, go from the bottom and up of that last mesh loop, and then bottom and up of that first one. This is what it will look like from the outside. And then from the top and down, you're taking your string and pulling it downwards. So there you can see these mesh loops are sitting on top of each other. That's what you want because it's a stacked SI. There we go. Okay, so after that stacked SI, we're going to skip the next saddle hole and do a KSI. This is going to help to create this knotted SI locked down so it's nice and tight and it's not shifting around. So down to the top of the next mesh loop, we're going to do another KSI into the plastic from the outside. Leaving a loop, taking your string, going from the back and through. Just like those first two times. Pulling your slack from the inside, pulling straight down. And then from here, what you want to do is take the middle of the mesh, pinch it, and then pull it up towards the top of the scoop. Take your leading edge string, go from the bottom up of that loop. So it's nice and tight. Okay, so following right after, we're going to do a 1SI. So this knot can get a little messy because we're bunching up a few diamonds in a small space. But we're going to go from the bottom up at that next mesh loop, and from the top down of the following one. So there we just went under and then over. Take the middle of the mesh, pinch it, pull it up towards the top of the scoop, put your string straight down. So these loops anchored to the plastic, going from the outside into the next saddle hole without skipping any, and then pulling your string all the way through so there's no slack left, and then from the bottom up at the last mesh loop only. Okay, there we go. So we're doing the 1SI because it's a little bit looser and we want our pocket to stay up high instead of shifting downwards. So instead of doing a 1 KSI, we're doing a 1 SI here. Next up, we're going to do a KSI and then a KSI right after. So down to the top of the next mesh loop, into the plastic from the outside, leaving a small loop from the outside and through that loop. From the inside, we're pulling our slack down and through, pulling all the tension out, and then from the bottom up. There we go. We're going to do it one more time. Down to the top of the next mesh loop. Taking the middle of the mesh, pinch it, pull it up towards the top of the scoop. We're doing this to help create the pocket still. Going from the outside into the solid hole. Leaving a small loop. Again, from the back side of that loop. Slack from the inside. And then pulling straight down. And then lastly, you need to pinch the mesh, pull it towards the top of the scoop again, and then from the bottom and up. And then there we did 2 more KSIs to finish out the pocket, a few more. Now we're going to skip another solder hole right after those 2 KSIs and do a regular SI. So down to the top of the next mesh hole, into the plastic. Skipping 1 solder hole, of course, going through this loop here. So we went down and through to the outside and up and through this loop. As you can see, taking the mesh from the inside with my fingers and then pushing up to create like a step kind of, and then we're pulling our leading in outwards, up, and then down. Take your leading in string, bottom and up, and then that's another SI. There we go. Now we're going to finish out our pocket. Take your string, we're going to do an interlock, so we're going to go out and through that next solder hole. We're leaving a loop because we're doing an interlock. So we have this next available mesh loop right here, as you can see. From the inside, I'm taking my string, I'm going up and through this loop, like that. Taking our string and then going up and through the loop we left. And then lastly, pinch the middle of the mesh, pull it up towards the top of the scoop, pull your leading in string outwards and then up and then down, making sure that it's nice and tight. And then the last thing you need to do is take your leading in string, go back down through that same mesh loop but to the outside. And then you're going to finish out by taking your string and going out and through that next solder hole from the inside. And then all you need to do is tie a knot. And then this is what it should look like from the inside. Alright, so we're going to finish out the bottom string for the mid-high pocket on the Kinetic. So once again, I'm taking a shooting string for my bottom string, and then from the mesh again, these knots that we ended on is on the 10 diamond row as well as on the other side, and then these loops right next to them, the ones we went out through, where we're taking our shooting string or your bottom string and going out and through those. So I'm put 1 through there and 1 through here, and then this is going to sit flat on the back of the mesh just like that. And then I have my agglets to the inside, and then with your corresponding sides you're going to go out and through the furthest bottom string holes, so not the inner 2 but the outer 2, as well as on the inside, or the other side that is, making sure that it's not kinking up or anything like that. And then from here, what you want to do is push the mesh up and out a little bit, kind of where you want it to set, and then take your shooting strings and then pull them down a little bit slowly. So it's going to, you can see as it's kind of creating a small arch there. and we're pulling this downwards. So there. And then after you have some good tension here, all you need to do is tie some knots for these strings. And then this other one. Just like that. Alright, so here we have the finished out mid-high pocket and the kinetic, and I think it looks great. As long as you did the bottom string correctly, you should be good, or tensioned it accordingly, so that way it won't shift downwards. It sits up nice and high in the upper third of the head, so it's going to be great for ground balls, as well as shooting from the outside. It's going to have a really quick release because the pocket sits up so close to the scoop. So it's going to be great for any midfielder, attackman, or an LSM. So guys, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, be sure to like it, subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.